Hi, Zohaib. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good to see you. Thank you so much. So, Black Mount Legal is a business and intellectual property focused law firm based in Manchester, England. I understand that your firm places SME and scaling businesses at the core of your model, emphasizing agile legal services aligned to modern commercial needs. Practice areas include commercial and contract law, employment, disputes, IT, intellectual property, and regulatory matters. And your notable innovation is Black Mount's Legal as a Service (LAAS) subscription model, which provides startups and micro businesses with fixed fee access to legal advisors. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And your background, you're a CEO and principal solicitor at your firm, and you are a multi-jurisdictional lawyer with experience in media, entertainment, IT, intellectual property regulations, company and commercial law, and you've been a solicitor since 2016, if
Yeah,
it's correct.
yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. I hope I got most of it right. So, yeah, we would like to talk about biggest challenges facing small law firms.
hmm
And it's a basically conversation, probably bringing AI as well into it. And I would like to start with one of the challenges, and maybe you can continue with the next one. I believe that the first challenge facing a small law firm is client acquisition in
Mm,
a very noisy market, especially competing against large firms and online legal platforms that
yes.
dominate search results and advertising. So, do you think this is a challenge that is notable, and what do you think are the solutions to this challenge?
Yeah, I mean, undoubtedly, it's a challenge. I think you're spot on. One of the biggest challenges a new firm has, and I think this is any new company in an already saturated market will face a similar challenge. It's that there are established providers who are recognized norms, search results on Google, etc., have already got a lot of intrinsic SEO built in for existing suppliers. So it takes a lot of time, effort, and dedication to start penetrating those markets. Um,
Mm,
and I think one of the disadvantages you have as a new entrant to the market is no matter how great your product might be, if no one knows about it, then they cannot feasibly switch over to you. Um,
mm,
and I think that the first challenge that any new entrant in a market, and especially small law firms, face is making sure that the potential client market is aware that you
mm,
exist.
mm. And how do you try to address it? What solutions do you offer? Imagine young law firms and lawyers who just starting to establish.
Mhm.
How do you advise them to overcome this challenge? What can they do?
So I think when we founded the firm, we had a sit down and we said, well, we've got to be pragmatic as to how we approach marketing because ultimately this is a marketing issue.
Mm,
And one thing we realized and we had to accept quite early on is that we don't have the financial firepower that large firms have. So some of the things that they would throw money at, we had to be a lot wiser about. For example, as a small example, um, because of how crowded the market is, the lead acquisition cost for paid ads is very, very high for law firms.
mm,
So if you were to Google
mm,
something like, contract lawyer Manchester or any kind of assortment thereof, the typical acquisition per lead, so cost per click, sometimes is in excess of £50.
mm,
And so if you're looking at, the conversion rate of 1 in 10 or 1 in 20, perhaps, that immediately makes it very unattractive for a small law firm because even though you can be
mm,
price competitive, if it's costing you, £1,000 to qualify a lead and then convert it, then it immediately starts becoming uncompetitive to be kind of engaged in that fashion. So we said, well, okay, fine. Let's leave that to the large firms for now. Let's focus our attention on things like guerrilla marketing. So where can we make the maximum amount of impact, make sure that the highest number of people who would be interested in our services hear about us, and then potentially create that brand recall for when someone needs us. And I think really we've got to be pragmatic. When someone needs a lawyer, it's going to be one of two things. A situation arises, you need a lawyer for something. You think, right, okay, I know so and so is a good lawyer, so I will contact them and discuss my query. Or I don't know any lawyer. I will have to Google and see what I can find as might be a viable option. Or as a subset of that second option, I don't know a lawyer. I will ask my trusted network of people, so and so successful business people. Perhaps they know a good lawyer who they could refer me to. So we come into brand recall through education, which is the first head. So that is creating value additive content for people who are on the internet and in person at various meetings and seminars and so forth, so that they think, okay, this person has provided us a lot of value free of charge. It creates that mindset within them that, okay, this is a high value person who could potentially be useful for me in the future. And then you just wait and see, and if a moment arises, then hopefully you're the person they think about if you've made enough of an impact. Second option, if they're Googling, there has to be some level of online presence. So we have to invest in things like SEO, try and get involved in the right keywords, try and make sure there's a lot of good, high quality content that we're publishing, so that when it comes to syndicating through the various algorithms, we get picked up. We've had some success in that. We rank page 1 and 2 for most areas of law. And we've started to be picked up by AI as well when it comes to search results. And I think that's going to be increasingly important, getting AI to pick up on you. So we've had some success, but it's slow and it's costly. It's probably one of the main areas of expense for our marketing. And then finally, the third one is through referral network marketing. So again, this is creating high quality connections with people who are influential and involved, giving them knowledge and understanding, helping them without an expectation of return, so that eventually, if your network is wide enough, people will then naturally start to refer you. And that's that. Or traditionally speaking, for commercial lawyers, that is the area where the majority of your work will come from, based on so and so person has referred me. I like to make a point of asking new clients, oh, by the way, how did you hear about us? And sometimes I'm referred by people who I've never heard of before, but because I've been referred to them by someone else, it kind of creates that chain of recognition. And I think that's the primary challenge with new client acquisition, especially in commercial law. It's very different depending on area to area. For example, if some areas that have high volume work like conveyancing and property work or immigration or personal injury, the acquisition model is very different. But for us in commercial, the acquisition model is very much based around creating longer term relationships and showing the value that we provide.
Yeah, no, that was a very good analogy. No, my colleagues were searching and they were looking for lawyers like yourself who have a brand which is attached to a kind of a particular way of serving clients, which is very particular. I like your second and third one. One of these is being picked up by AI. I mean, we all know that AI is actually picking law firms based on how much they answer questions that people are asking on Reddit, for example.
Yes.
So if you know what sort of questions people are asking and answer those questions on your website, then there are more chances that you will be picked up, and you might be being picked up even in front of a larger law firm who doesn't answer those questions directly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the last point about approaching the wider network, again, it's a very good strategy, but how much time do we have to always remind our networks about what we do? I think here AI can come in as well in a form of automations. For example, if you have a network that you always want to remind them once every month, for example, have some automations that sends a message that I'm still here. If you need any help, let us know. And I think particularly for smaller law firms, these automations can come very handy. Even you can put automations on your WhatsApp as well. You can have different groups of networks and you can run the automation so that it does it for you. Because we lawyers, get bogged down with work sometimes and we tend to forget one thing and then concentrate on another thing. And AI can come handy and help us with these things.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. I think especially you're very correct about answering questions. I think the focus has shifted away from Reddit. I think AI
Mhm.
was giving a disproportionately high amount of focus on the algorithm to Reddit, and that's now changed. Now I think Reddit ranks very, very low, but other
Mhm.
high quality leads and content is certainly there. And I think it contributes to natural SEO as well. If you're
Mhm.
answering the types of questions people will ask, and it helps
Yes.
kind of create niched content searches. I think it's one of the biggest challenges I had as a lawyer coming into starting a firm. I understood the administrative background of businesses. I understand the financial background of businesses. Very familiar with those areas from my own practice of law, but marketing
Mhm.
was a very new and challenging area to understand, and it's a very different mindset you have to approach as a business owner,
Yes.
understanding how marketing works. And I think that this is an area where a lot of lawyers tend to struggle, understanding
Yeah.
how to approach the different dimensions of marketing.
Yeah, I have another solution for marketing. We are emphasizing on this because it's very important. With more clients, you can grow your firm. With little client, you can have cash flow. So, especially for law firms that, like yourself, B2B services, you offer a lot. uh, it's not against the law to have cold email marketing going to small businesses to say, hey, if you want to do this and that, we are here. So lead generation via cold email marketing is still allowed, I think, if I'm not wrong.
So
So,
there are some restrictions the SRA has put in place around cold gen marketing, and there is guidance around things like offers. So the
yes.
traditional types of offers that are, I think they describe it as an incitement to select your legal services over that of another provider, which is a very vague kind of way of expressing it. But there are restrictions in place. The problem I've always found with cold marketing, and especially it kind of just mail shots, is one, it risks destroying your domain strength for your mail.
Mhm.
So you then need to use an alternative domain name for the purpose of those mail shots. And two, I think the cost to conversion ratio is very, very low because you've got to
Mhm.
find someone who's at the exact right moment to need your product
Mhm.
within a very wide range of potential clients. I mean, in theory, it can work. I think I've shied away from it primarily because it doesn't match the ethos of what the firm is about. The firm is
Mhm.
very much about we create value, but also we're discerning in the nature of the clients we have. And I think cold lead gen just doesn't align very well with that.
Mhm. Mhm. No, again, AI comes in handy. There are platforms and solutions that make sure that your emails goes into the inbox and
Mm,
it doesn't affect your main domain. So, for example, Instantly AI, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a fantastic platform. I don't have any affiliation with them. I'm actually using them and I'm helping some clients who are getting actually results out of it. It doesn't cost much.
mm,
And what you do, you go on the platform and you buy like 5, 6 domain. For every domain, it gives you 5, 6 email addresses, and basically you have 30 inboxes.
yeah.
And it takes about 2 to 4 weeks to warm up your inboxes in a way
Mm,
that it doesn't go into a spam. it's a very, very clever system, and it doesn't send mass email hundreds or thousands. It actually send them in a way that it doesn't go into spam.
Mm.
And basically you reach out to people into their inbox, and in order to satisfy SRA, all you have to do is to just offer some advice, some information, some lead gen. Hey, this is the new regulation. Hey, this is how we do a business setup, this and that. Offer some insights and solutions. You don't have to sell any of your services. And once
Yeah.
they see that you are sending them regularly good information, they will hook on to you, and then they
Mm.
will definitely get back. So at the same time of doing other type of marketing, this can run at the background. You don't have to do anything. Once you set it up,
Mhm.
it will run itself. And again, we've tested it, it works, and it's a fantastic system to test.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So what other challenges do you think we should cover now? I mean, is there anything else that comes to your mind that you think is a challenge for small law firms other than marketing and client
I think
acquisition?
price competitiveness is an important one because I think one of the key areas that small law firms can succeed on is by being more competitive to the larger suppliers in the market. And I think one of the areas that will see a lot of growth now is increased efficiency for smaller law firms who are utilizing assistance tools like AI. Because I think while AI is developing, and it's not, I don't think it's in a place yet where it can necessarily replace lawyers. It is getting to the stage where it can replace some level of junior staff, and it
Yes.
is making operational efficiency simpler, both through document scanning assistance tools, things like drafting prompts, checklists,
Mhm.
and kind of a number of guides and procedural bibles, which in itself, you've got to be careful not to rely on them completely because sometimes they can be wrong, but I'd say 9 times out of 10 they're pointing you in the right direction. And
Mm.
I think with that time saving being created, you can be a lot more flexible in terms of your proposal to clients. I think traditionally law firms still they derive their fees off of the basis of the amount of time work will take them to complete. And that ultimately that's the opportunity cost. I can either spend 3 hours on this project, or I can allocate those 3 hours on a different project that's higher paying,
Mhm.
and that's typically how lawyers will then value their time. Um,
Mhm.
but if you're in a space where you can ostensibly charge the same fee on a fixed fee basis, but it's taking you less time because of the AI assistance tools that you have in
Mhm.
place, then you can potentially do a lot more work while still remaining price
Yes.
competitive. And
Yes.
ultimately, that's more profitable for your business.